Hello, my name is Eve and I like to talk about disturbing books. This is going to be one of my first YouTube videos. Usually I post on TikTok under the username Confessions of the Mosses or Eve Reads. I'm going to be talking about some of the most disturbing books I have read. I read a lot, and the only thing I tend to read is very disturbing, like extreme horror or splatterpunk. I read 100 books last year, and I am at 95 books for this year. I'm going to be talking about the books that are forever going to be ingrained in my brain, and I'm never going to forget about them. So we're going to start off very strong with one of my favorites that I feel like everyone talks about. This is a kind of a classic in my mind of extreme horror splatterpunk. It was a very good beginning book for me. American Psycho by Brent Easton. I'm terrible with names, but this book essentially follows Patrick Bateman. So if you've seen the movie, which I'm obsessed with the movie, I thought the movie was great. This follows a man who basically has everything. He has money, he has a successful career, and he basically just likes to kill and dismember women and do unspeakable things to them. One of my favorite, one of the most memorable moments in this book in my mind is when he ties a woman up spread eagle and shoves a pipe up her hoo-ha and then puts some type of rodent there so that the rodent will eventually have to crawl its way out of her stomach. Iconic. On to the next. The next book I'm going to be talking about is one that is very disturbing. I don't know if it's extreme horror or splatterpunk, but it's definitely disturbing. Tampa. Now, this book follows a woman who is a school teacher who has an obsession with young boys. And the way that the author is able to describe this obsession and really put you in the mind of someone like this makes you so uncomfortable. Like, she talks about wanting to lick this child's sweat. Like, it gets really nitty gritty and it gets really, really disturbing. And she does end up grooming one of her students and then another student and kind of like pinning them against each other. And at the end, she does get caught, but because she's so pretty, it's not that serious. Like, it's made to be a joke, like, oh, I wish a woman this attractive would have hit on me at that age. Like, what the fuck is that? The next book I'm going to be talking about is Exquisite Corpse by Poppy Z. Bright. I listened to this book on Audible and I was absolutely obsessed with it, so I had to buy a copy. Does anyone else do that, where if I read a book on like Kindle Unlimited or I listen to it on Audible and I love it, I have to have a physical copy? I do that with a lot of books, and that is why I'm poor. But Exquisite Corpse essentially follows these two serial killers and they cross paths. And the writing describes some of the most like gruesome scenes that I've read, but the writing makes it sound so beautiful. Like, I remember listening to it while driving and I was like, oh, this writing is so pretty, but it was literally talking about dismembering a body and cooking it and eating it. Like, it was rough. There was also some parts where I found myself pausing because I was like, oh, I'm driving and I am cringing and I'm closing my eyes a lot, so that's probably not good. Another book that I feel like is going to stay with me for a while is Recum for a Dream. Again, this is not splatterpunk or extreme horror, it's just disturbing. And it follows 4 different addicts. I think it's 4. Yeah. There is a movie made by this, and I saw the movie, and as soon as I realized that it was a book, I was like, I have to read it. Because the movie left me feeling so disgusting, so disturbed. I was so sad because the three of the 4 people are, in active addiction. They've been doing drugs. And then the 4th person is one of the main characters, like moms who accidentally becomes an addict. And it just goes to show how easily anyone can fall into it, because essentially she wanted to lose weight. So she went to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed her some medication to help her lose weight. She got addicted to that, and so they prescribed her medication to help her sleep. And it just got into a very vicious cycle, because they probably prescribed her some type of speed, and so speed keeps you up. You don't want to eat, and so they had to prescribe her something to help her sleep because the speed was keeping her awake. And then they had to prescribe her something else to equal everything out, and it can become a vicious cycle, especially when you don't know what you're getting yourself into. And the mom in this book, she had no idea. She was completely oblivious to what she was doing, and then reality and her fantasy world kind of gets intertwined a little too much, and she just loses all touch, and it was gut-wrenching. I remember anytime I watch it, I cry, and it's definitely not a movie that the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm not watching this again unless it's to show someone else this movie. I'm not going to sit here and watch it by myself, because it was, The next book I'm going to be talking about is a book that took me 3 months to read, and I recommended it to my coworker, and she bought it months ago, and I'm pretty sure she's still trying to get through it, because it is one of the most disgusting, depraved, terrible books I've ever read in my life, and it is Hog. This book messed me up so much. I'm talking every single page is just disgusting. We're following this young boy. I think he's either 11 or 14, and he essentially gets taken by this disgusting, depraved man called Hog. And Hog's job is he goes out and assaults women for money, because people will hire him to kill someone or assault a woman, and Hog finds this young boy and starts assaulting him, and his whole gaggle of friends start assaulting this young boy. And there's a lot of scenes of eating feces and drinking pee and just the most disgusting things you can think of. And it's through the eyes of this young boy that we're experiencing him just going through this. And I'm talking, it's every single page. Every single page is someone is making this young boy do something, or making him eat feces, or it's just bad. It was really, really rough. And when people ask me, oh, you've read so many books, what is the most disturbing book you've ever read? This is the first one I think of, hands down. The other book I want to talk about, I don't know where my copy is, and it's one of my favorite books. It's The Slob by Erin Beauregard. I feel like if you're into extreme horror or splatterpunk, you've heard the name. We all know him. We all love him. The Slob follows this pregnant woman as she is going door to door trying to sell vacuum cleaners to save up money for the new arrival of the child, until she knocks on the wrong door, and who answers it is this disgusting man that we know as the Slob. And he essentially kidnaps her, assaults her, beats her. He takes a cinder block, I think, or something, and smashes her stomach in, and then vacuums out the inside of her stomach with the vacuum cleaner that she was trying to sell him. And then it just gets more depraved from there. It was ridiculous. Another book I want to talk about that is forever going to be ingrained into my brain is The Big Head by Edward Lee. It took me a little bit to read that book because the dialect was very different. It's essentially these two girls are getting out of the city to kind of let their hair down, write, get to know themselves, all this other stuff. They're staying in this countryside with one of the girls' aunts. And they keep hearing these rumors about, oh, the big head. And turns out the big head is real, and he is going around and assaulting people and eating people, and it was just a crazy, messed up story. But those are the books that are forever going to be ingrained in my brain. If you are a fan of really disturbing books, if you want to test your stomach, if you want to test your mental capacities of dealing with traumatic things, I recommend these books to you. And I will make more videos like this because all I read is this fucked up shit. So if you're interested in more videos like this, let me know. I got more. I could go for days. But I hope everyone has a good day, and I'll see you later.